For over 3 years now, this show has had an executive producer by the name of Corey Inganamort, who joined us from a long run at the Washington Nationals, kind of running a lot of the fan experience for the stadium there. But specifically, much of that time was spent in costume as Screech the Eagle. And then he decided one day, he's like, you know what? I want to work in radio, and showed up at our offices and did an interview with me. I was at the time in desperate need of a producer because my first producer here on the afternoon show, Jen Richer, who's a wonderful woman, she moved on to some other job in radio, and she's super successful and amazing. And I was like, okay, we got to find somebody. And Corey Inganamort shows up at our office, and he fresh off of his time with the Washington Nationals, and said, I don't know anything about the radio business other than I enjoy listening to it, but I'm willing to learn everything, and I'm a hard worker. And I believed him, and thank God, thank God I did. Corey Inganamort on the microphone today for your last show, Corey, as producer of this program.
I can't believe it. Can you hear me, by the way, Vince?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, great. I wasn't sure about the microphone I set up. Yeah, it's been 3+ years now. It just absolutely flew by. I can't believe the time that we've had. You're talking about the time I interviewed you in the office. I always laugh at that because the first impression I made is always funny to me because it was the day before Halloween I had an interview with you. First time meeting you, and I grew out this big, giant, disgusting, dirty mustache because I was Mike Lindell for Halloween at a party the next day.
Uh-huh.
And I was toying for so long. Do I shave it? Do I not? Do I shave it? Do I not? I was like, screw it. You know what? I'm just going to show up with this dirty mustache. And it didn't turn you away. I was like, okay, Bill, Vince, this is what I am. I'm a little bit of a lunatic, but I'm ready to work hard. And boy, I think we had a successful run. It's been a blast.
It has been a blast. So Corey's just a good life lesson for everybody else, which is like, hey, just put in the work. You know, sometimes you jump into something that you don't know what to do, but like if you work hard, you really can climb that mountain. And he definitely did. And the cool thing about you, Corey, is like you get along with everybody. So developing the relationships that are necessary to be a good producer, it comes easy to you, which is good. And being able to like cut the audio and all that stuff, you just learn that really quickly, which has been an immense help to me. It's honestly, I can't even believe that you came here. I think that's divine that you came to this show.
Well, I would say, yeah, I knew a few people from my old job at the Nationals. I got to know a few media people just based on what kind of cool job it was. I had a whole bunch of free tickets, and I met some media personalities and some celebrities via like first pitches and national anthems, that kind of thing. But I started with a very small Rolodex, a few people I leaned on in the very beginning. Emily Jashinsky, for example, comes to example, Katie Pavlich. I text them early on and was like, hey, can you come on? And I told Emily, you saved my life the first month working here because I really didn't know what to do. I think it was my second day, you're saying, hey, can you get Governor Scott Walker on the show tomorrow? And I said, sure, but I had no idea what to do with that information. Okay, that's not something anyone off the street would normally know what to do. So I texted a friend who knew a friend who knew a friend who knew Scott Walker. And then, I tell you what, the first month, Vince, I don't think I ate lunch because I didn't have time to. It was a sprint. It was a sprint to get to the start of the show. Yeah. But since then, oh my God, it's become so much easier because yes, I am a good guest booker, but the reason why I am a good guest booker is because there's something I'm selling. I'm selling Vince Coglianese. When I put, hey, do you want to join the Vince Coglianese show in an email or in a text, guests are always like, hell yeah, I want to join Vince. He's the greatest radio show host there is. And the latest promotion is proof of that. So I don't know how many guests that I talked to in person or over the phone. Mike Davis, for example, the other day, I ran into him and he said, every time I'm on Vince's show, I get so many more requests to join other shows on Fox News or other radio. And that's just another example of that, A, people listen to this show, whether it be lawmakers or, media personalities, producers, and B, people want to be on this show because we have actual influence.
Yes, I'm happy to take some of the glory of some of that, but it is a WMAL phenomenon, I have to say, because I remember years ago, before I was a host on this station over 8 years ago, I'd appear as a guest on the morning show from time to time, and when I did, I got feedback for those appearances way beyond anything that I had done in national media. I would be on Fox News, and I'd get some limited feedback. People would see me, mostly, faraway friends and family members. I saw you on Fox. nothing like WMAL. The WMAL audience is so engaged and so present. It's kind of amazing. And I get so many messages. Oh, I heard you on WMAL this morning. It is cool. And that's why, I mean, it's such a neat thing. I always call it the legendary WMAL because it really is. And you talk to, I mean, you and I, we go to these listener events and you talk to people who are longtime listeners of WMAL who want to talk about, like Hardin and Weaver and kind of the storied history of this station. You do realize that you're a part of something very big, and that you don't even really have your full arms around how big it is sometimes. So it is neat. Corey, in addition to your workman-like ethic, you just have a great work ethic here. One of the things I've enjoyed through these couple years is just how I always call you like one of the most belligerent white dudes I know, which is really fun because you just have all these crazy stories of like being a conservative and being totally unashamed of it, living in Arlington, and Corey gets into battles with neighbors in his building. He's getting in battles in the elevator. He's getting in battles at polling places. He's getting in battles while he's floating on the Potomac in his boat. It's like there's like nonstop battles, and it's all for his own enjoyment. He just does it because he loves doing it, and I think it's the funniest thing ever.
I promise you, and you know this, and I think the listener knows this. I'm not an angry guy. I swear, I'm not an angry guy. But I do get joy out of being, the 7% who voted for Donald Trump in the Washington, D.C. area. I do get enjoy. It used to really annoy me being around all of these people. But especially in this job, we've become so close. Everyone who is like-minded and in the media space and in conservative politics, we kind of grow that circle where they become your best friends. And it is so much more fun to be in this area with that big group of friends.
Right.
It's like us against the world. And you've heard stories, and obviously, Vince, you've experienced it. Our rides on the Potomac with the big Trump flag next year, by the way. Announcement, breaking news. Next year, the flag is going to be bigger than last year. It's going to be a 12 by 8 foot flag, and it's actually going to be a face of Tom Homan with the words that say "Ice, Ice, Baby" on the side. So I think that's going to trigger some people. But I do get so much enjoyment. If we were doing this on a lake in, Mississippi, among a whole bunch of like-minded people, I don't think that would be nearly as fun. I get a lot of fun out of it.
I want people to understand what he means by what he's actually doing. It's not just that you're floating on the Potomac with a Trump flag, and this year it's the Tom Homan flag. And you left out one detail. He'll also have the Thug Life sunglasses on.
Yes, that's an important detail.
That's an important detail, which is great. Ice, Ice, Baby, a picture of Tom Homan with these awesome sunglasses on. And with a bigger flag, what Corey does with this boat is he will bring it right up against the shoreline at places like the Wharf, right up against Georgetown, right up against each of these locations that like people are absolutely buzzing. They're at outdoor bars, they're socializing. There's maybe weddings going on sometimes. And there comes Corey blasting Lee Greenwood, and he's got this gigantic flag up. It is, again, as I said, he's belligerent in the best way possible. And normally what happens is when you do this, then we put the cameras on and we capture the reactions from the shoreline. And to be fair, they're mixed. It's not always middle fingers. Sometimes it's outright cheering.
Yeah, there was a lot of that this year. I could almost tell the tide was changing just by my little sample size of the boat. But you're right, we get the attention, and it's not just driving by; it's honking the horns and making sure that they see us. And we just had such a blast. I have a new hobby actually. I picked up last night, Vince. I didn't even tell you this, but as far as trolling and trying to get attention. On social media, on X or on Facebook, you get like a lot of liberals and conservatives interacting with each other. What you don't get that on LinkedIn, by the way. On LinkedIn, you have one corporate policy which is allowed, and that is gender-affirming care, so-called, aka neutering children, is promoted and it's allowed, and you can talk about it openly. And not a single person has the opposite view because this is corporate America. So what I started doing last night, it's a new hobby of mine. I recommend it. It's actually kind of fun. Log into your LinkedIn profile, search the word trans, and find all the people who are speaking in pro support of neutering children in the name of gender-affirming care, and just click on the hold down the like button, but hit laugh. and laugh on all of these. And you'll notice that you are literally the only person out of like 1,000 likes who actually hit the laugh button, because in corporate America, you're not allowed to do that. And all these people that are on LinkedIn are looking for their next job, looking to be employed, worried about being canceled. So I recommend doing that on LinkedIn. It is actually fantastically fun.
And they can tell it was you who did it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Good. And I go ahead. Tell my employer I'm proud of it. It's absolutely fine.
Really funny. Okay, so you are headed off. So here's I mentioned this before, but I just want people to understand that this puts me in a much better situation than I would have been otherwise, because Corey had planned this out some time ago. He was going to head off to Town Hall. He's going to work for them. And it just so happened that all of the changes that we're making to the programming here at MAL, and then I'm going to be taking over Dan Bongino's 12 to 3 slot nationwide, that is a total coincidence to the fact that Corey's also leaving. And that means that nobody needs to get canned. Like, we don't have to, there's nobody getting fired. I'm going to go work with Jim and Mike with Dan's show. It's great. And so thank you for saving me from being put into a very uncomfortable position one way or the other. And I'll just let you forever think about, like, who would he have fired in that arrangement? You can just keep that to yourself. But you are going to Town Hall, right? So does that mean that you're going to work with Larry O'Connor in some capacity?
Oh, boy, yes, I will. Actually, he said on Twitter today, he said, "Oh, my God, Corey, we're going to miss you so much at WMAL." And I said, "Yes, I'm going to miss you so much, but I'll see you next week." I will be seeing Larry quite often. That relationship will continue. I know a whole bunch of those guys over there at Town Hall already, frequent guests on the Vince Coglianese show, Kurt Schlichter. And it's owned by Salem, which, of course, includes Hot Air. So David Strom, who you heard from earlier, Ed Morrissey, Jennifer Van Laar over at Red State. So I'm going to get to hang out with a lot of the people that I already know, a lot of people that I'm always friends with. It's going to be a smooth transition. I'm going to be doing a lot of the business side of things, managing VIP memberships, tracking the data, but also doing a little bit of editing, a little bit of podcast management. It's a little vague until I start on Monday, but I'm looking forward to it. But as I told you earlier, Vince, like, I'm going to end up being the Corey from Arlington caller. I do plan on still having a role in this show, and I
can't wait.
I'll call often as probably, well, maybe not as often as Donna in Frederick or Phil in Fredericksburg or Sam in Alexandria or Mike in Gainesville, who, by the way, I've become friends with all these guys, and Leo in Colorado, and I just want to give you all a shout out because we had so many great conversations over the phone over the past few years. So I'm going to miss you, the caller or guest, Vince, but I'm going to still be involved, and I'm staying in the fight.
So two things. On callers, Corey's a great call screener. And that's not like a reflexively easy job. It's actually, there's a challenge to it, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a symphony on the air. You're trying to drive people through who are going to help improve the quality of the on-air product, because in the end, fundamentally, I've got to make decisions about what are we putting on at any given time so we can make this the best sounding thing you could possibly listen to. And so Corey's really good, because Corey will do the pre-interview, he'll talk to the people who are calling in, he'll ask them all the questions, so sort of kick the tires to make sure they've even thought through their argument. Sometimes we get calls that are like, "Hey, I just want to get on the air." And Corey's like, "Well, what do you want to talk about?" "I don't care." And it's like, well, you have to have a topic. There's got to be something specifically. So Corey's been very good at all of that through the years. So another skill of yours. And because we're about running up against it now, I do want to tell you one quick story. It was funny. I was talking to my wife earlier this week about, man, Corey's leaving. Like, what can we do for Corey? Because I want to just do something to celebrate that you're leaving. And my first idea, because I thought it was just really funny, I was like, we should name a star after him. Those, like, I'm pretty sure those are scam websites that are like, oh, you named a star. And
Adopt an elephant in Africa. Why don't you, Vince?
And then I was like, actually, what if we name a star after his boat? We'll call it the No Woke Zone. We'll just name a random star, and then when he's out on the water at night, he can look up at the sky and say, like, there's a No Woke Zone star. And that, by the way, that costs like $20 or something to name a star. It's actually way cheaper than you realize.
It still sounds like a ripoff to me, though.
It is a ripoff. Yeah, somebody just stole $20 from you, and you're not getting any sort of actual benefit. So what we settled on is we're going to go out to a very fancy dinner. It's going to be a lot more than $20, and we're going to have a great time. And Corey, I got to say, it has been such a joy working with you. You're a total talent. You really grew into this role literally instantly, and that month you had without eating lunch really paid off, because you just became a total star. Totally jealous that Town Hall's picking you up, and I'm thoroughly convinced that we're going to work together in the future. So thank you for all the great work you've done.
Vince, it's been an absolute honor and absolute pleasure. I'm just overwhelmed with all the love and support I've received today from you and Bill Hess and Dave Kimber, who's the man who's never behind the microphone, but I'm going to miss working with the three of you. This has been a team, the 3 to 6 team. The band is breaking up, but there's always seems to be a reunion tour, and who knows? So options are open down the road, Vince. You know, I see ourselves working together somehow, some way in the future. Yeah. And I'm just incredibly grateful.
Thanks, man. All right. Yeah. And I trust me, I've got words to say about Dave Kimber. I got words to say about Anna. That's all coming too. But for now, thank you, Corey. Thank you, man.